I will now call to order the January 21st meeting of the Goochland County Board of Supervisors. We will start with the invocation and pledge led by Reverend Joe Brown of Goochland Presbyterian Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Vice Chair Tom Winfrey. Please stand as you are able.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for letting me come and lead the prayer of invocation. Would you pray with me? Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, hear us this afternoon, for you are sovereign over all. You are merciful to the weak, and you are the standard of goodness and justice in this world. As you commanded the church in your scriptures, we pray that those in authority over us, that they may live peaceful and quiet lives in all godliness and holiness. Today, we ask that you send down on those who hold public office here in Goochland the spirit of wisdom, charity, and justice. We do specifically pray for wisdom as they decide on chair and vice chair leadership of the board. We ask that with steadfast purpose, the Board of Supervisors may faithfully serve here to promote the well-being of all people in Goochland through Jesus Christ our Lord. And Lord, today we ask for your mercy and grace to the Creasy family as they grieve the loss of Diana. For decades, Diana was a pillar in our community to the fire and rescue family, the EMS family, and the entire Goochland family. Her loss will not be quickly forgotten. We ask that your Holy Spirit comfort her family, and we pray specifically for Stephen, Sean, Teresa, Tonya, and Scott. Lord, have mercy. And so, Lord, we humbly offer this prayer as well as the unspoken prayers in our hearts to you, the ruler and sovereign King of Kings, the one whose name is above every name, Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. 1 minute as we honor our country. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will now begin our annual organization meeting. I will turn the gavel over to Mr. Vic Carpenter to conduct the annual organization meeting for the 2025 session. Mr. Carpenter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I now call to order the organizational meeting of the 2025 session. I will now open the floor, members of the board, for nominations for the office of chairman. Do I have a motion?
I move that Tom Winfrey be chair.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, I'll now close the floor for nominations. We'll now do a roll call vote. Mr. Waters?
Yes.
Mr. Spoonhour?
Yes.
Mr. Christie?
Yes.
Mr. Lyle?
Yay.
Mr. Winfrey?
Yes.
Congratulations, Chairman Winfrey.
Thank you.
I will now open the floor for nominations for vice chair for the Goochland County Board of Supervisors for the 2025 year. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Carpenter, I'd like to nominate Mr. Jonathan Christie as vice chair.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, I will now close the floor. Roll call vote. Ms. Spoonhour?
Yes.
Mr. Waters?
Yes.
Mr. Winfrey?
Yes.
Mr. Lyle?
Yay.
Mr. Christie?
Yes.
Congratulations, Mr. Vice Chairman. I move now that the board approve the resolution electing the 2025 chair and vice chair of the Goochland County Board of Supervisors. Is there a second? I'm sorry. I'll make the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call. Mr. Christie?
Yes.
Ms. Spoonhour?
Yes.
Mr. Waters?
Yes.
Mr. Winfrey?
Yes.
Mr. Lyle?
Yay.
Congratulations, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair. We will now have the ceremonial swapping of chairs. Now we'll go into the resolutions. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you all. We'll now have in front of us several resolutions adopting the Board of Supervisors 2025 Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct. Ms. McGee, would you like to explain some of the changes?
I would, and I'll be brief, Mr. Winfrey, because this document has not changed from the way that the board adopted it in 2024. It was presented to the board members and asked for any changes or amendments. None were suggested, and so it's before you for adoption this year without changes.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Mr. Carpenter, will you please take the roll?
Mr. Lyle?
Yay.
Mr. Christie?
Yes.
Mr. Spoonhour?
Yes.
Mr. Waters?
Yes.
Mr. Winfrey?
Yes. Next, we have resolution adopting the Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct for county appointees. Ms. McGee, would you like to have any comments on that?
I will. I just want to explain to the public and to the board members, this code of conduct mirrors the one for the Board of Supervisors, and it applies to all the residents and citizens that you appoint to a number of boards because they also serve on behalf of Goochland County. And so it was adopted several years ago to apply to them. And I do want the public to know there's also a code of ethics for all employees that resides in our HR manual. And so with these documents, we apply to anyone who is a representative of Goochland County, employee, board member, or appointee, the same standards of codes of ethics and so forth. This document, again, has not changed since last year, but it's before you for consideration.
Thank you, Ms. McGee. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Mr. Carpenter, would you take the roll, please?
Mr. Christie?
Yes.
Mr. Waters?
Yes.
Mr. Spoonhour?
Yes.
Mr. Lyle?
Yay.
Mr. Winfrey?
Yes. All right, our next resolution will adopt the Board of Supervisors 2025 Rules of Procedure. You have received the black line proposal previously to cover changes. Ms. McGee, would you like to highlight those changes?
I would. Thank you, Mr. Winfrey. This year, there were some changes proposed to your rules of procedure for a variety of reasons. Sections about meetings, and that would be under the regular meetings, the reserve date, and the canceled meetings, have been amended really just to clarify the process for, particularly for using the reserve date and for inclement weather. I discovered as we moved this hearing from January 7th to today, due to the inclement weather, that the rules of procedure were not as clear as they could have been about the fact that you could use this date or any other date. And so I simply struck through to make that clear, and that is very consistent with state law. It's based on state law. Then with respect to electronic communications, the General Assembly this past year passed some changes that allowed a few more ways that you could participate electronically, and I've proposed modifications to your rules that allow you to take advantage of those should you need to. One of those is, caregiving for a disabled family member would be an additional reason. Then, with respect to Section 2.09, I've made a change with respect to motions, and there are two things. One is a clarification regarding tie votes, because I didn't think it was very clear when we had a tie vote what should someone do next. And so I added some additional language that I thought made it more explanatory what the options were at a tie vote. And then I actually added a motion to reconsider, which is allowed under parliamentary procedure and under Robert's rules. We hadn't had it in our rules before, and I felt that adding it offered a different option for when you have a tie vote, that people would not be as concerned that they'd be turning down a whole case, or if they did, that they would have a way to reconsider it within the same board meeting. So I proposed that change to you all as something that I saw based on how your meetings had gone, that I thought this would improve your opportunity for procedure. And then finally, with respect to the citizen comment period and public hearings, there is a proposed rules change that citizens who want board members to consider presentations, usually PowerPoint slides, but even audio and video, to make the meetings run smoother and to make sure we have a good record of it. The request is that those get submitted to the deputy clerk by noon on the last business day before the meeting. So they can be loaded up and ready and saved to run for the people and the board for when that is going to occur. And so those are the proposed amendments to this year's rules of procedure for your consideration.
Well, first off, thank you very much for the work you put into that and the clarification. It's very helpful. The board, members of the board, you've received the proposal previously which covers these changes. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move for the adoption.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Okay, Mr. Carpenter?
Mr. Lau,
Yay.
Ms. Spoonhour,
Yes.
Ms. Waters,
Yes.
Mr. Christie,
Yes.
Mr. Winfrey.
Yes. And finally, we have a resolution setting the 2025 meeting schedule for the Board of Supervisors. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move the board adopt a resolution establishing the Board of Supervisors 2025 meeting schedule as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? And this is, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, let me just say to my fellow colleagues, thank you very much for the faith that you all have bestowed in me to be your chairman. I will work very diligently to earn your respect. I look forward to working with Jonathan Christie as vice chair, and thank you, dear. It makes it real official now. You know, we've got a lot of things to look forward to, very positive things, not only in our county, but our country as well. And I tell you, I don't know about the rest of you all, but I'm still euphoric, and I'm very happy. So, again, thank you all, and I'll try to do my best.
Mr. Chairman, point of personal privilege, if I may, I want to thank Mr. Waters for the last year serving as chairman, because we were a circus on times, and so we needed a ringmaster. And Charlie, thank you for your efforts there with that.
Okay, Mr. Carpenter?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, just want to publicly recognize the county employees from the last 6 weeks. As you know, last time we met, it was before Christmas, and since then we've had a lot of things happen, water issues, cold weather issues, snow and ice, among others. And so I just want to publicly thank the county employee, the team members that made things happen, that made things work, and great appreciation is delivered to all of them. Those we saw, those we didn't see, they all made it happen. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. We have next a resolution of recognition, recognizing Ms. Carol Johnston on her retirement from the Social Services Department. Ms. Maskowitz will read the resolution, and then I will seek a motion and second from the board, and I will present it to her.
Ms. Johnston, did you want to come forward?
Is that an option?
Love to have you come forward.
Not particularly, but okay.
Ms. Maskowitz.
Whereas Carol Johnston, a dedicated public servant, retires from Goochland Department of Social Services on February 1, 2025, after serving 34 years of exceptional service to the community. And whereas Carol Johnston began her career as a family service specialist on November 1, 1991, and became a senior family service worker during her tenure. And whereas Carol Johnston always exhibited patience, compassion, empathy, and a commitment to the child's well-being throughout the life of the case. And whereas Carol Johnston provided services to families, the elderly, and children, including child abuse investigations, foster care and adoption services, companion services, child daycare services, guardianship services, and whereas Carol Johnston has served well over 75 children in the foster care system, providing guidance to those children, their biological, foster, and adopted families with care, respect, and professionalism. And whereas Carol Johnston has served this county and its residents with compassion, fairness, and dedication. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Goochland County Board of Supervisors, do hereby extend to Carol Johnston our sincere and grateful appreciation for her dedicated service to Goochland County residents and offer our best wishes on her well-earned retirement.
Board members, do I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that the board approve the resolution of recognition for Ms. Carol Johnston.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
What a distinguished career this young lady has had. Just get a picture. Got it? Thank you. Congratulations. One of the happy things about this job. Very well deserved. And we have another happy thing to occur. We have a presentation by Goochland County students on work-based learning and workforce development. Mr. Bruce Watson.
I'll kick it off. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Carpenter, thank you for giving our students time today to talk about our work-based learning program and the promotional program that they are developing to grow this program, to work with our Department of Economic Development in the county and our local businesses. And so at this time, I'm going to turn it over to their amazing teacher, Mrs. Urel Patton, also known as Miss EYP. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I echo those sentiments of gratitude for the opportunity to be before y'all this afternoon, and thank you, ma'am, for your help as well. As we know, GCPS's mission is to maximize the potential of every learner. It's catchy, it's impactful, and it's easy to remember, but it's more difficult in practice. Honestly, I spend a good amount of time reflecting on the how of this call to action. I see my amazing colleagues ensure this mission, and I realize at the heart of the charge is engagement. And as our Assistant Superintendent of Instruction, Dr. Geyer, always says and constantly asks us, is it's what's best for kids? I can say unequivocally that the answer to that question in regards to work-based learning, WBL, is yes. We presented in front of colleagues, our administration, and the school board. Each time the focus has been on the students, which it should be. However, as I reflected on this presentation, I thought about how our students support our county's goals and the impact of economic growth and our future. The WBL program is instrumental in creating Goochland's next generation of entrepreneurs, small business owners, working professionals, government officials, and hopefully future members of this board. Creating opportunities for our youth to work in, give back to their community should be the focus of any vibrant WBL program. And if I may, for just a moment, I'd like to speak to you as a citizen and as a mother. My son had the opportunity last year to go through the school's EMT program, which is done in conjunction with our fire and rescue. He logged over 100 hours with exceptional men and women of the fire stations across this community. The next step was to pass his National Register Emergency Medical Technician exam, which he did. Today, I see WBL's objectives come full circle, and now he runs rescue for our county. Yes, clearly, I am a very grateful and proud mama, but in my economics class, I would say this is what we call a return on our investment. I see that same investment in the wonderful young men and women behind me who you will hear from this afternoon. I've seen the impact of WBL on them as well, and I couldn't be more proud of the progress they've made in a very short amount of time in rebranding this program. I'm excited, I'm honored, and I'm extremely proud to turn it over to our amazing students so they can show you at GHS what WBL is doing, but also what it's doing for our wonderful community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Board of Supervisors members, Mr. Carpenter, Ms. McGee, and Madam Deputy Clerk. I'm Ava Garrison, a senior at Goochland High School. This afternoon, you're going to hear about high-quality work-based learning examples from some of our CTE students, my classmates, and teachers. I'm a member of our high school's internal marketing firm, Mark It Up. Mark It Up is an example of work-based learning, specifically a school-based enterprise. My teammates and I proudly continue the legacy started by alumni when we were in elementary and middle school. We are grateful for the opportunity to be here and share with you our most recent project, the rebranding of our high school's high-quality work-based learning program, which we refer to as WBL. We believe every experience at Goochland High School is of the highest quality. Our work is a team effort. We have collaborated for months with our clients and our target markets. This includes leadership from our central office and high school, our school counselors, families, teachers, and peers. This semester, we will meet with members of our business community to ensure we are creating the most comprehensive rebrand possible. So let's get ready, as WBL's tagline suggests, and learn what test driving a career is all about.
Good afternoon. My name is Chelsea Breedlove, and I'm a junior at GHS. WBL exists to offer exactly what we see on the screen: school-coordinated workplace experiences related to our career goals and/or interests, integrated with instruction and performed in partnership with local businesses and organizations. WBL gives students, like me, the opportunity to explore careers and determine if they're a good fit for us. My experience with WBL is an example of service learning. I am partnering with Goochland Powhatan CASA, a nonprofit organization that stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocates. CASA works with children during the court process to ensure their safety and happiness. This WBL is helping me with my future career goals by increasing my communication and collaboration skills. I want to be a pediatric nurse. Last semester, I worked for the director of CASA, Ms. Townsend, to create the logo on the left for Goochland Powhatan's CASA Community Challenge, a fundraising event for our community. Ms. Townsend was my 7th grade Spanish teacher at Goochland Middle School, and now serves as my supervisor. Being able to work alongside my former teacher, who is now a GCPS industry partner, has been very impactful. Equally as impactful is that my WBL does not end this year. It will evolve and serve as my senior project, at which point it has the potential to be another WBL, an internship. The continuation and enhancement of students' knowledge and skills are cornerstones of WBL. All of these experiences will benefit my future career of being a pediatric nurse by providing valuable interpersonal skills I'll carry with me.
Good afternoon. My name is Melvin Roper, and I'm a junior at GHS. Chelsea's WBL is just one example of the many opportunities students have when selecting a WBL. As you can see on the screen, there are 12 total categories to choose from. These range from job shadowing for career exposure to full-fledged internships, externships, as well as clinical experience and apprenticeships. My role in this marketing campaign was to meet with various district and school-level leaders and conduct a needs assessment. We started with the director of CTE, Mr. Watson, and GHS principal, Mr. Hahn. From those meetings, my classmate Preston and I identified 4 key objectives: increase community awareness of WBL, educate families and students on the importance of WBL, simplify WBL tracking for school counselors and teachers, and provide professional development for staff and teachers. Once the goals were established, we knew educating our audience would be crucial to our campaign. To accomplish this, we created a WBL information paper for prospective families and students to help further their understanding of this program. We made this product with accessibility in mind to increase usability. It can be handed out in person mailed to families, scanned via QR code, or directly emailed. We also identified a need to create an additional information paper to educate our target audience of the 12 WBL experiences I mentioned earlier. This was no easy task and took many iterations.
Good afternoon. My name is Lily Oakham, and I'm a junior at Goochland High School. I led the team responsible for the WBL Opportunities Information product. We knew that our design had to be simple and the visual components impactful. I assigned each team member one WBL, and they created the icons you see on your screen. As a team, we had to exercise a great deal of patience, communication, and resilience. We knew selecting impactful icons was important, so we took the necessary time to get it right. Once this was complete, we turned our attention to getting the words and the length right. The foundation for this document was started in the library with our library media specialist, Ms. Boehm. We started by creating the base you see here, adding each WBL's description to the icon. Space continued to be an issue as the document was over 10 pages long. With each rework, we remained optimistic, knowing we were getting closer to the final product. During one of our work sessions, I was listening to everyone talking about what they liked and didn't, but most importantly, what they would like to see in the future. I took all of the feedback into consideration, and while sitting right there, I created the one-pager. Then I took the document, and with the help of Dr. East, we finalized the product, which is what you now see. Once we had a product explaining WBL opportunities, we had to develop a way for families to choose the best opportunity for their situation and future goals. Some crucial skills we discussed in class when preparing ourselves for the workforce and teamwork and initiative. I was a part of the team and had put the following slides together, but not the lead. Our team leader is currently out playing for another team, our varsity basketball team. Luke, we wish you all the best. Go Bulldogs. Luke managed this process in such a way that I have full confidence representing the team this evening. My goal is to be a leader in the financial sector, so I'm confident I will be doing this again, hopefully in the near future. As a team, we decided a flowchart would be the ideal resource for choosing a WBL. Luke's role in this project was to help guide us through the building the foundation for the process flow. This is important for you to know because he wants to be a project manager. The logic behind the slide you see was to show the entire process of a flowchart and to display the information gathered. First, our team met with Ms. EYP in the Learning Commons and created several prototypes, which we later consolidated. We returned to class. Ms. EYP and Luke finalized the order of the steps in the classroom whiteboard, along with the school counselors, our district-level leaders, Mr. Watson and Dr. East. Johnny and Chase, two of my teammates, were following along and began building their flowcharts in Canva. Johnny and Chase will now share with you what we worked through finalizing the product.
Good afternoon. My name is Chase Cranes, and I'm a senior at Goochland High School.
And my name is Johnny Vega Alvarez, and I am a junior at Goochland High School. Together, we took the ideas from our planning sessions and created the flowcharts you see here on your screen. Our goal was to produce a flowchart that streamlines the WBL application process, so students and families walk away confident in their personalized WBL experience.
To do this, we had to include all stakeholders involved in the process, including students, families, teachers, school counselors, WBL coordinators, and industry partners. We also had to keep the flowchart simple for the reader to understand and ensure all steps were summarized. We found we couldn't fit everything we needed into our original flowchart, so we took those two designs and created a more comprehensive flowchart.
Starting with the first red box and moving from left to right, families have a step-by-step guide on how to navigate their WBL application process. It includes hyperlinks to the information paper and simplifies the steps a student and the family will go through during their WBL. The black boxes on the bottom indicate who the student will be working with while they go through the WBL journey. Now that we've talked about the WBLs and how to get started, let's see what these actually look like for our students.
Well, work-based learning is an opportunity to take any skill sets that you may learn in the classroom
and apply it in the working world, whether it's your SAE project or your job shadowing that you do for any other CTE course. And it helps develop and make those soft skills a little stronger. That is very much needed in today's world. So there's a lot of huge benefits. And also, it gives the student an opportunity to explore a career path so that they can determine whether or not they like that career or not.
I just think it was a good experience to help with this, and it was also fun. I mean, this experience is coupled with like others that we do with FFA too, that just help us get into the community.
So it was definitely a little bit of a high stress environment because we were all packed in that trailer trying to figure out how to better organize things. And everyone's yelling instructions, but no one's really in charge. And one person who really stepped up was Gigi. And it was very good for team building and exercises because you had to work together because you can't be everywhere at once. You had to use all of your resources to the best of your ability.
I just love helping others, and I think that as a teacher, we have to lead by example. And when we show people in our community putting other people's needs first, helping others, we can really set that example and set that role model, how important it is to think of other people and reach out and be part of a community.
A big inspiration was kind of that service to community aspect that I've always been taught, not just from my parents, but like from my teachers, from Staff Sergeant, Lieutenant Colonel, who are the senior Marine instructor for our school. It's just that you always have to remember that you need to give back to your community because it's not about you. I think a big part of being a good citizen, not just a Virginian, but just as a United States citizen, is helping those in your community, no matter how big or small your community is. Somebody out there always needs your help.
Treats is a student-run and school-sponsored food truck that sells cultural foods during the football games.
I originally got the idea when we were both in our Spanish 3 class our sophomore year during Hispanic Heritage Month, where our teacher, Mr. Reyes, told us to go home and make a Spanish omelet for a quiz grade to bring in and share with the class. I got the idea to spread cultural cuisines because I knew every month had one associated with it.
It's a lot of real world experience, and it's also a lot of the things I think they miss with the soft skills part of it, because they're actually forward facing with the customers. They actually have to talk to them, they have to interact. It's also, we set it up so it's more like a business where there's people in charge and you have to recruit people to work and train people, and you're training your replacement. So it is no different than if they were to go to work in a restaurant. It's exactly the same kind of experience.
Good afternoon. My name is Preston Tuthill, and I'm a sophomore at Goochland High School. As you saw in the video, each student's experience with WBL differs based on their personal wants and needs for their career field. My job in this process was to interview educators and peers. The video we helped create highlights what students are doing with WBL real-life experiences and how we're helping the community. We want to acknowledge all of our students and educators who were featured in this video for their work with WBL. We will now share with you some products they created from work-based learning.
We hope you now have a better understanding of WBL and feel equipped to share the positive impact this has on our community. From providing a pipeline for employment to also cultivating a citizenry that embodies our school district's vision to prepare the next generation to make a positive impact. Thank you again for this opportunity to share with you and our community an introduction to the possibilities that work-based learning, WBL, can create for us. We now welcome any glows and grows or feedback that you may have. Thank you so much.
We thank you all very much. Mr. Watson, would it be appropriate for us to get a picture? Would it be appropriate for us to get a picture with these wonderful students?
All right, Mr. Chairman, they asked for some glows and grows, which is a phrase I might start using myself.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I cannot let it pass as a Farm Bureau director how pleased I was to see the supervised agricultural experience. Did any of you all participate, actually go to Giles County with the program? You just packed the truck? So,
I don't think any of us personally did it, but I know a lot of people at school that participated.
well, thank you for that, because they really, as you saw in the video, were spanked and pretty soundly. So, yeah, we don't have farms we don't eat. So, so I'm putting a plug in for Mr. Allen's courses. If you haven't taken them, please sign up. And maybe in the future you'll be able to do it in the middle school. But thank you for this presentation. Very, very impressive. If I still was running my company, I'd probably hire all of y'all. I like the strong, silent type there on the end. I mean, kept waiting for you to be the closer to come up and close the deal. But thank you all very, very much.
Keep up the good work.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Thank you. So I'll have a glow and a grow for y'all. The glow, I really appreciated listening to Cadet Malachi, did I say that right? Malachi's comments about contributing. You know, in this day and age where it's so easy to be a consumer, meaning you expect everything to be handed to you, government's supposed to give you everything, to see a group of folks like yourselves that are realizing that, no, we're here to contribute, we're here to pay back, I just think is amazing. On those lines, my grow would be, and maybe you're already grown, but you know, as I've been doing this for a little while now, I see how powerful our little community is. You know, a lot of people just think, oh, that's just little rural Goochland. Have you thought about sharing this with other schools, districts in the area, and is there any sort of collaboration so that this isn't just a local Goochland, but a regional type effort? That might be for one of the teachers.
None of us have, I mean, obviously, like, as we've been going on in this presentation, like, we started with the school board, and now we're obviously presenting to you guys, so I think it's still be something we could grow on and, like, talk to other schools about, so that's good feedback that we'll think about. Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Yes, great job. I liked particularly how you kept the presentation flowing. Video media, you know, print that we were reading, things like that. It's critically important. And then also, it was nice that there was a little dose of humility in there. You know, one of the speakers saying, yeah, it was a loud gong effectively, but it was a learning lesson. And I think, you know, so often when you're presenting, it's good to show that side and let everyone know that, because I can tell you, we're very proud of you. We know you don't have all the answers yet, though. So it's great to be thinking about that and also learning in this entire experience. So we're very grateful for the Goochland County Public Schools for doing this.
Any other comments? Mr. Christie?
I just have some professional advice for you guys as you find yourselves in the workforce. When things get crazy, confusing, you only have one job, and that's to either make your boss or your customer make their lives easier. If you do that, you'll always be successful.
Good, good, good. And thank you for the apple butter, too. I can't wait to try it. Let's get a picture. Come on.
It's priceless.
Dr. Cromartie, would you come join us, Dr. East, as well?
let's not leave EYP out.
This one went to sleep. This is that, I'll send it to, EYP, I'll send it. Thank you, Dr. Reeves.
All right.
Did anybody not get an apple butter? We have an extra one. Did you get one?
Thank you so much.
Okay, well, I guess this is mine.
Doesn't that make us all proud? I'm telling you, that's wonderful. Okay, next item for the, on the agenda is we have requests. Are there any requests to postpone agenda items in additions, deletions, or changes in the order of presentation? Are there any requests to postpone, delete, or change agenda items? Seeing none, do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor say aye.
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 And now we have the citizen comment period, so I'll open the, we'll open it up, and I do want to remind you that the comments should be about items not covered on the public hearings agenda later on tonight. Comments should be respectful, no more than 3 minutes in length. Should multiple citizens wish to have a common speaker, they may cede their time in 2-minute intervals up to a total of allotted time of 10 minutes. I'll now open the citizen comment period. Seeing none, I'll close the citizen comment period. All right, now we have the approval of minutes. There are 2 sets of minutes for us to consider this month for approval. Minutes of the regular meeting of December 3rd, 2024, at 1 p.m. and the joint work session with the school board held December 16th, 4:30. Those minutes are in your package. You've had an opportunity to review them. Do I have a motion for the meeting of December 3rd?
Mr. Chair, I move that the board approve the action minutes for December 3rd and December 16th, 2024's regular meetings.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We now will move into our reports section. Mr. Marshall Wynn with the Virginia Department of Transportation is here to present the VDOT report. Mr. Wynn, thank you.
First off, congratulations for the new board and chair and vice chair. My name is Marshall Wynn with VDOT. This past month, December, we're a little late in the month right now. We had 120 work orders, completed 149, had 5 call-outs. During December, we did pothole and asphalt repairs, as we usually do, ditching and shoulder work, tree and brush removal and cleanup, sign repair and replacements and trash pickup. We did complete a triple line of pipe on Hermitage Road where we sleeved it. That was completed on December 23rd. Other than that, we've been through a couple of snows and that sort of thing, so other than that, I don't have anything else, not unless y'all have some questions for me or anything.
Mr. Chairman, I do have just a comment that I want to say I certainly appreciate the effort that the road crews did during the snows. I sometimes tell people that Goochland's very environmental and we use solar to clear the roads. But I really
Solar helps, I can tell you.
But I do so appreciate that the roads, at least on Mannequin and the areas in the Centerville area that I drive, I was appreciative and impressed with the job that the road crews did.
All right, thank you.
Any further questions? Thank you, Mr. Wynn.
Take care. Have a good one.
We have reports on broadband, fire and rescue, agriculture, planning and development. Accounts payable are included in your packets. With that, we move into the consent agenda. Mr. Carpenter will now summarize them for the board's consideration. Mr. Carpenter.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, tonight we have 4 items in front of you. The first is the construction of roads within Reeders Branch subdivision, Section 5, are complete. VDOT has notified the county that those certain streets are ready to be accepted into the state secondary road system for maintenance upon the board's adoption of this resolution. A total of 0.39 miles of roads are included. The school board is requesting the following budget supplements totaling $297,033 as described. An increase in the amount of $189,033 to the school operating fund for elementary schools makerspace project to be funded by the Goochland Education Foundation monies, $30,533, and secondary mental health counselors to be funded by a state grant from Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services for $158,500, and an increase in the amount of $108,000 to the federal grants fund for secondary mental health counselors to be funded through a federal block grant for community health services, school-based mental health services. No county funds are needed for any of these requests. Next item, the board is requested to set a public hearing for February 4th, 2025 to consider an ordinance amending Goochland County Code Section 14-251 to add approximately 105.1 acres into the Tuckahoe Creek Service District, TCSD. This is the project commonly referred to as Project Rocky. Final item, the board is requested to set a public hearing on February 4th, 2025 to consider a proposed ordinance amendment to clarify that motor vehicles must have antique plates in order to qualify for a personal property tax exemption. Mr. Chairman, those are the items in front of you tonight.
Do I have a motion to approve them as presented?
I move that the board approve consent agenda items 1 through 4.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to, some folks may be wondering why this board has to take action when there's actually no county funds being appropriated to the school. The way that we are set up is that our board does fund the schools categorically. So when there are changes to the categories or additional monies and revenues come in, it's our responsibility to provide some oversight. Well, where the majority of the work and the management is done, obviously by the elected school board, we do approve categorically to ensure that monies are flowing the way that the community expects. So I just want to take a second and explain that.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. Next, we have some appointments. We have several regional appointments today. I will present them as a group and then consider a motion and a second as a group. First is the CVTA, Mr. Spoonhour with the alternate, Mr. Winfrey. Plan RVA Commission, Mr. Spoonhour, Mr. Lau, and alternate, Mr. Cosby. RRTPO Policy Board, Mr. Lau, alternate, Mr. Waters. Audit and Finance Committee, Mr. Waters, Mr. Winfrey, and Mr. Christie. CLEO Capital Region Workforce, Mr. Christie, with the alternate Mr. Josh Gillespie of the staff. Do I have a motion to approve these appointments?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Now, we didn't let Ms. Carol Johnston go too far. Next, we have consideration, and she's not here, bless her heart. Next, we have consideration of the appointment of Ms. Carol Johnston to replace Ms. Ann Casey on the Community Policy and Management Team, CPMT. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Yay.
We will now break till the 6 o'clock public hearing. Thank you all for being here. Okay, we will now reconvene the January 21st meeting of the Goochland County Board of Supervisors. The first order of business is for citizen comment. I'll open the citizen comment period. Would anyone like to come forward and speak? Seeing none, I close the citizen comment period. We will now move to public hearings. Our first public hearing is to consider a countrywide zoning ordinance amendment to adjust allowable signage for office and industrial parks. Ms. Jamie Sherry will present.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Our first public hearing this evening is a countywide amendment to the zoning ordinance, specifically the sign and definition sections of the ordinance. Changes pertain to entrance signs for shopping centers and industrial and office parks, on-site signs for office and industrial parks, changes to the format and notes related to site type of signs, and to add the definition of office park to the ordinance. So why are these changes needed? The Department of Economic Development received concerns from the business community stating the lack of signage for industrial properties. Staff also recognized properties in key economic development areas were only allowed one entrance sign. There are tables within the ordinance with contradictions with existing notes, and there are separate wall sign provisions that do not agree with each other. There is a need to clean up a table within the ordinance to consolidate these requirements. And lastly, to add the office park definition. So our existing ordinance, shopping centers, industrial and office park signage, they're limited to one per entrance. And there's no freestanding sign within these parks for each of the users. What is proposed that industrial and office park signage clarify that one entrance sign is permitted per entrance. A cumulative sign area are shared between the signs to help limit there being too much signage. They will permit individual lots within a park, an office park or an industrial park, to have freestanding signs. But they require that the entrance sign be ground mounted and designed to have brick or stone as the base. These signs are examples of what would be allowed. The sign must be ground mounted, as I mentioned, and the base must be made of brick or stone, similar to what is on the slide. So the photo on the left is an example of a development on Broad Street east of 288. This is one of those economic development areas that we noticed that there was a need to have more than one sign for one coordinated development. For example, if only one sign were allowed, there would only be one, and as you can see, there are many entrances to that overall development. So shopping center signage. What we clarified that, wait a second, let's see if that's the right one. So the current table includes text to address additional restrictions or provisions. This causes the table to be overly large and confusing. And there's also inconsistent language used between similar provisions. That's what you see on the screen now. The ordinance change would provide information as footnotes. As you can see at the bottom in green, they relate to much clearer table in front of you. There's less repetition, and it reduces the text within the table. This allows for better consistency standards between common sign types. That concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Do we have an applicant in this?
We are the applicant.
Oh, yeah,
The county,
okay.
county's the
So
applicant.
we've already- All right. I will now open the floor for public comment. Anyone from the audience and from public? Seeing none, I will close the public comment period. If I could entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that the Board of Supervisors approve of this zoning ordinance amendment to adjust signage for office and industrial parks.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Second. Any further discussion?
I just have a question.
Mr.
In the text, and this is just for general information, probably less to do with this vote, but it references projected science. What is an example of a projected science?
I mean, I'm trying to think of like one that we have. Basically, it is something that, a wall sign would be something that is flat. A projection sign literally is something that is bumped out. It's different than like a.
Projects out. not
Projects
just
out.
like
Yep.
Three-dimensional.
Yeah.
Three-dimensional.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, Mr. Spooner.
Yes, sir.
It talked about ground-based signs,
Mhm.
and I was hard-pressed to think what would not be ground-based.
A pole sign was also another freestanding sign, one that is just on a pole as opposed to, being actually mounted throughout on the ground.
Okay, so the pole's on the ground.
Poles on the ground,
Okay,
yeah.
so it's ground-based.
This is not something that we came up with,
I
no.
was just trying to think if it was suspended from something. I didn't know.
So,
There's also wall signs.
yeah, wall
Yeah,
signs.
They can put it on their building.
Got it, thank you.
Oh, thank
That's
you,
my
ma'am.
question.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
No, sir.
Whoop.
Roll call.
Oh, roll call on this one. Mr. Carpenter?
Mr. Waters?
Yes.
Mr. Christie?
Yes.
Mr. Lyle?
Yay.
Mr. Spoonhour?
Yes.
Mr. Winfrey?
Yes. Thank you. Next, we have an application by Lester and Kimberly Robbins requesting a conditional use permit, CUP, for an accessory family housing unit detached on 20 acres at 5344 Duval Road. Ms. Jamie Sherry will present.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our next public hearing is an application for a conditional use permit in District 1 by Lester and Kimberly Robbins to allow for an accessory family housing unit detached. The vicinity map shows the location of the subject property within the red circle, and the aerial photo shows a portion of the property, which is in Goochland County, outlined in red. A portion of the parcel actually exists in Fluvanna and is located to the west. The zoning map shows the subject property and adjacent properties within Goochland, zoned agricultural general. The areas within Fluvanna are in the white, and those are actually also zoned agricultural in the zoning ordinance in Fluvanna for agricultural uses. The comprehensive map shows the subject property and adjacent properties in Goochland County as rural enhancement area. The property sits on approximately 40 acres. 20 acres are in Goochland County and include the existing residence. The property currently has open fields where the applicant keeps horses on those fields. There's woods and a single-family dwelling and with residential storage units and agricultural structures on the Goochland side. The conceptual plan shows the full parcel with the county boundary marked with a yellow line. The proposed accessory dwelling is shown in red with the rear setback shown to the county line, which is how we measure a setback if it's in two separate locations, jurisdictions. The comprehensive plan with the imposed condition, this is consistent with the plan. There was a community meeting held back in September. One citizen attended, as well as Planning Commissioner Kimberly and Board of Supervisor Mr. Christie. At the meeting, there was discussion of the family requirement, driveway, road standards, emergency access, and what a conditional use permit renewal would be like, as well as enforcement. Overall, the neighbor was supportive of this application. At the November 21st public hearing, the Planning Commission recommended approval of this application with a 5-0 vote. No one spoke at the public hearing. The next two slides are conditions recommended for approval by the Planning Commission. Conditions 1 through 3 pertain to the use and operation, allowing for a detached accessory family housing unit, requiring it only to be used by family, and that the dwellings cannot be rented separately. Conditions 4 and 5 are related to safety, requiring at least one carbon monoxide and one smoke detector be installed and maintained, and for emergency vehicle access to be provided and maintained. Condition 6 recommends a 10-year expiration date. And lastly, Condition 7 requires that if the applicant were to transfer the property either through sale or rent, the applicant must notify the new owner or leasee about the conditions and that they notify the county about the transfer. This concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any of your questions.
This may be for Tara. Tara, it's standard now that for these, it's a 10-year renewal, correct?
Yes, sir, that is the part of the uniform conditions for these types of uses.
Yeah,
Just making sure.
absolutely. The applicants are in attendance as well if you have questions for them.
Does the applicant wish to say anything? Okay, so. Do we, yeah. I'm now opening it up for public comment. Seeing no comment, I'll close the public comment period. Okay, board, Mr. Spoonhour? No.
I move to approve District 1 CU 2024-0021 application by Lester and Kimberly Robbins.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
No, sir. Roll call.
Roll call, excuse me.
Mr. Christie?
Yes.
Ms. Spoonhour?
Yes.
Mr. Vaughers?
Yes.
Mr. Lyle?
Yay.
Mr. Winfrey?
Yes. Our next public hearing is District 2, RZ 2024-00010, application by Dennis Leroy Holmes requesting to rezone 12.74 acres from agricultural general A1 to agricultural general A1 with proffers to seek exceptions to the county zoning ordinance, section 15.2, 343.C.1, requirement for a public road, and section 15.353B1 and B2, requirements for left and right turn lanes at O. Terry Lane. Ms. Sherry will present.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our final public hearing this evening is a rezoning application in District 2 for a rezoning from A1, the A1 zoning district, to the A1 zoning district with proffered conditions. The applicant requests relief from the proffered, in the form of proffered conditions to obtain a waiver for the public road standards, which are required for more than 5 lots, and the proffer also requests relief from the right and left and right turn lanes that are required to extend a private road to serve additional lots. This, the intent is to allow for a 4-lot subdivision along a private road. The vicinity map shows the area where the subject property is within the red circle. The aerial photo shows the subject property outlined in red. The zoning map shows the subject property and adjacent properties with the agricultural general zoning district. And the comprehensive map shows the subject property and adjacent properties as rural enhancement area. So the subject property is a parent tract and has 3 divisions available to it. Terry Lane is a private gravel road with a 50-foot access easement, which provides access to Rock Castle Road, which is a major collector road. The subject property is located approximately 1,700 feet or 1/3 of a mile northwest of Rock Castle Road. The yellow line on the picture shows the existing roadway built outside of the recorded easement, which is in purple. Currently, 8 lots are being served by Terry Lane. 2 of those lots are vacant. On the left is a photograph taken from Terry Lane facing east onto Rockcastle Road. The image on the right is looking west along Terry Lane. The subject property is not visible from the image. As noted prior, the built roadway diverts from the established easement, so the subject property is not currently accessible. A site visit revealed that the terrain is quite hilly and there appears to be a creek on the property that is not documented on our GIS records. The image shows roughly where the roadway begins to divert from the easement. You can kind of see a little bit there. The applicant is proposing a 4-lot subdivision with 3 new lots. So that would be 1 lot divided into 4, 3 new lots. Although the parcel has division rights, the subdivision cannot be approved administratively due to the Access Management Code requirements. The proposed development currently requires a public road access with both left and right turn lanes. Waivers from the code may be granted in conjunction with the rezoning request. The proffered conditions, if accepted, would allow for the subdivision of the 9th, 10th, and 11th lots to access Rockcastle Road through Terry Lane. The image on the left is the applicant's proffered conceptual plan, which is Exhibit A and within the staff report. The image on the right is the same plan with a focus on the subject property. It shows proposed lots as well as the extension of Terry Lane, approximately 400 feet, and demonstrates the required fire apparatus turnaround. So this slide is an additional look at the road standards. Major subdivisions of 5 or more lots or family divisions of over 6 lots require a public road. Through a zoning request, private roads may be permitted. Private roads must then meet county standards, which include a 6 inches of crushed gravel or stone depth, minimum of 20 feet of gravel road width or more if required under the Goochland County Fire Code, positive drainage on a road profile, and constructed and maintained to withstand vehicles weighing up to 75,000 pounds. So this is a summary of the turn lane requirements within the code. Subdivisions of 5 or more lots require turn lanes onto arterial and collector roads. Entrances onto collector roads require right lanes. Entrances onto collector roads with 10 or more lots require left and right turn lanes. Again, these requirements may be waived with the zoning request. So, if approved, the applicant must provide an engineered plan at Plan of Development, POD. Plans are reviewed by county staff and VDOT, as well as the health department. VDOT may have additional requirements. Additional permits for stormwater might be required, and a minimum 10,000-gallon capacity cistern must be installed to serve the subdivision for fire protection. This is a requirement with the creation of the 11th lot. Any future subdivisions along Terry Lane will also be required the relief of the public road and turn lane requirements, or to construct a public road, or to put in the turn lanes. There was a community meeting held in September of last year. 17 citizens, including Planning Commissioner Mr. Kimmerly and Ms. Kowalski, were present. Comments provided related to the rezoning process, the subdivision process, a timeline for ultimate approval, and how the proposal would affect future subdivisions. No concerns were raised for the applicant's specific request. At the Planning Commission, a public hearing was held on November 11 last year, and there were no public comments. The applicant was recommended for approval with a 5-0 vote. Staff has received 1 letter in support of the application and 1 letter and call, both from the same individual, in opposition. The applicant has proffered conditions on the property. In summary, they are a conceptual plan, which was demonstrated earlier in the presentation, language which provides waivers from both public roads and turn lane requirements, an extension of Terry Lane, the Terry Lane easement, and a realignment to the existing roadway within the easement. The applicant has proffered to provide an engineered road plan, and the plan must meet the private road standards as well as fire access requirements. The applicant has also proffered maintenance of Terry Lane to retain the private road standards as outlined in the code. Maintenance will be provided by the subject property owner or future property owners for the entirety of the Terry Lane easement. This concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions, and Mr. Holmes is also in attendance if you have questions for him.
I've got a general question, I suppose. On the requirements for the roadway, I noticed that in the map there was a cul-de-sac, and I'm wondering, and Chief Eddie, you might be the one that needs to answer this. Should we add requirements for cul-de-sacs in the county ordinance?
So there are certain circumstances where they are required. This is here mostly to provide a turnaround for the fire apparatus.
Right, okay, yeah. Okay.
And this is not a family subdivision, it's a parent track.
It is a parent track subdivision. I'm not sure, I think the applicant has indicated that there might be some family taking it, but we're looking at it as just a minor subdivision.
Okay, all right.
Would the applicant like to say anything? Oh, no, I was just listening to everything, and this is not my field.
So the people can hear you online, if you don't mind using the mic.
I'm sorry.
No problem, Mr. Holmes.
Dennis Holmes, 3900 Terry Lane. Now, this is not my field, so I'm just listening to everything. The land that we're speaking on is all family. I mean, it was bought by my great-grandfather back in the day for $50. And so it's been in the family for a long time. And the road that we're speaking of, we've been taking care of it for probably 50 years. So, I mean, we've been putting gravel on it. We drag it during the snow. We do everything for this road. So I know it's going to take a lot to get it to where you guys want it to be, but we're willing to do that, okay? And like I said, everybody that's living there is family. If it wasn't for my mother, some of them would have lost the land because she's been paying taxes on it forever. So she is waiting for me to hear what our decision is today. So that's all I wanted to say. All right.
Mr. Chairman? Yeah, I move the board approve rezoning RZ 2024-00010 with proper conditions as presented.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is one of those situations where we do put in place restrictions or regulations so that we can ensure that we are growing the county the way we need to, safely, and with the infrastructure that we need. And I'm the first person to look at development to help improve our roads and to to get an opportunity to have turn lanes. And really, we've said the only way that development is what's going to get us there. In this situation, in my district specifically, this is probably the safest area of road, secondary road that I have. It's about a mile of straight lane. There's no hills. Having everybody, and I guess it's just the way this lot, this $50 lot, we've learned, is structured. We've gotten out 12 houses, and I don't have 12 driveways on Rock Castle. So I feel like, and I've been out there twice. The signage that they have, it's a very, very nice, small community that they develop, and I support this going through.
Thank you. Any further comment? Thank you all. Mr. Carpenter, would you take the roll?
Mr. Spoonhour.
Yes.
Ms. Christie.
Yes.
Mr. Fauders.
Yes.
Mr. Lyle.
Yay.
Mr. Winfrey.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank all of you.
The Board of Supervisors will now adjourn as follows. Tuesday, February 4th, 2025 afternoon meeting of the Audit and Finance Committee. Tuesday, February 4th, Board of Supervisors regular meeting at 6 o'clock, public hearings. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you all.
Ouch, of the year, right? That's funny. It's the longest too, right?